So as you can see, I went ahead and entered all of the data, and now you want to make sure you've saved your changes after adjusting your column widths. And we're going to go into Design View, and we're going to apply a data validation rule. We're going to add another field, and we'll be working with some lookup values as well. So we're going to go over to View, and I'm just going to scroll down here. And below dental insurance, we want life insurance. And this is going to be a numeric field. There's two types of numeric fields. There's numbers and there's currency. With currency, you're going to get a formatted field that has dollar signs, and with number, you will not. So we're going to choose the C for currency. And let's see. For description, enter a value that is equal to or less than 100,000. Now they do want, obviously, a validation rule on this. Well, oops, if you don't have typos. They want a validation rule that won't allow people to enter more than 100,000. So down in the validation rule, we're going to do less than or equal to 100,000. Now for the rule, you cannot put commas or dollar signs in the number. Okay, so it's kind of like a criteria in a query. Okay, you have to just key in the plain number. So this is the rule when people enter data. It's going to check against this rule. And if they enter a number that is not valid, what we have as validation text will display. So we want to enter a value that is equal to or less than. And in the validation text, this is just displayed to the user. You can put in some formatting, okay, because this is in a little box that the user sees. So you do want it to be user-friendly. For the rule, you cannot put the formatting in the number. So we're going to go ahead and hit Save. Data integrity rules have been changed, blah, blah, blah. So what we're going to say, do you want the existing data to be tested? We're going to say no. And then we're going to go over to Datasheet View, and you'll see we do have our new column now. And for the first one, they would actually like us to key in 200,000. And this is going to test our rule. So I keyed in 200,000 and with the down arrow, and this is our validation text. Okay, so the rule is working. So we're going to click OK. And then we are going to change this. And instead of 200,000, we're going to enter 100. So the rule was less than or equal to 100,000, so this should be accepted. Okay, so you always want to make sure that you're testing those validation rules to ensure that they work. For the next one, we've got 25,000. And I'm just using the down arrow to fill these in. Okay, so at this point, I've got all of the data into that new field. And we'll hit Save. Why don't we resize our column here. Whoop. And Save. And they do want us to go back over to Design View. They want us to insert a new field above first name. So I'm going to move my mouse into the selector area, and I'm going to left click on first name. Then I'm going to insert a row, and it'll go above that field. And this field is going to be called emp category. And we are going to be using the Lookup Wizard to create a drop-down list that data entry personnel can select from to fill in this field. So the minute you go into the Lookup Wizard, it wants to know if you're going to get the values from a table or if you're going to manually type them. It's always ideal if you can pull in the values from another table. Unfortunately for us, we have to manually type them. So we're going to choose the second option, and we're going to click on Next. Okay, and then number of columns. This is referring to the number of columns that will display when they are entering data. So when they click on the little list arrow, how many columns do you want them to see? We are just dealing with one. So what we have to do is enter the values that will display in the list. So salaried is the first, then we've got hourly, and I'm just using the down arrow to go from one to the next. And we finally have temporary. So those are basically our three values. We're going to click on Next. What label would you like for the lookup field? We will keep it on our field name. And then we're going to click on Finish. Then over in description, we're going to enter, click down, arrow, and then click Employee Category. And let's go ahead and save this. So we'll go over to Datasheet View. And we have to scroll over just a little bit. Oh, actually we don't, because it's right here. What we're going to do is click, and then you're going to see the arrow. And so we're going to basically be filling these in. And for the first one, they want hourly. And for the second one, they want salaried. For the third one, they want hourly. Now, normally, I just type the first letter if I know what my choices are, because to me, that is way easier than clicking the arrow. So you can see if you know what your choices are, you can simply type the letter. So we've got hourly, salaried, this one is temp, and we've got hourly, salary, temp, hourly, salary, salary. So at this point, they do want us to print. I'm going to go ahead and resize that. However, we don't really need to do that. I'm going to hit save. What we'll do is we'll take a look at print preview though. And you'll notice it is on 2 pages. We could try to squeeze it on one by changing to landscape, but at this point that is not what they want us to do. We are going to close out of our print preview, and we're going to go back to design view. And they decided they want to move the employee category field. They want to move it below telephone. So we're going to select it. Okay, and once you select it, if you point, you're going to notice that you have a white arrow. Okay, so we need to be over in the select area for this. So you're going to click to select, and then you're going to point in that selector box, and we're going to left drag, and you'll notice as you drag, you have a thick line, and that line needs to go below telephone. And when you have the line in the right location, you can release. And now they would like us to delete dental insurance. So apparently these poor people don't get dental insurance anymore. So we're going to click on that and we're going to click delete row. Do you want to permanently delete? We're going to say yes. And then we're going to go ahead and save. Pretty much any change you make in Design View, you do have to remember to save. And then let's take a look over in Datasheet. And you will notice that that category change when we moved it is in effect over in Datasheet View. And you'll also notice that dental insurance is gone. And at this point, we're done with the employee table. So we're going to close it. We don't really need to go print it. We are going to open the payment table next. And we're going to add a new field with its own little validation rule. So let's just right click and go right into Design View on this. And right below payment amount, we're going to key in late fee. The data type, it is currency, so I'm just going to do a C. The rule on this is going to be less than or equal to 50. Okay, and remember with the rules, you don't put dollars or anything. The text that will display to the user if they miskey is going to be late fee must be $50 or less. And then we'll come up here and enter our little description. Enter a late fee amount if applicable. So at this point, we've added our new field. We're going to save it. Do you want the existing data to be tested? We're going to say no. And we're going to go over to Datasheet View so we can enter the late fees. So for record 15, down here, they want 25. And I'm going to down arrow. And then for 16, they want 25. And then for 17, they want 50. And I'll press the up arrow there. So that's basically all they wanted us to enter. And why don't we best fit that one as well. Now we do have some numeric values here. We've got payment amount, we have late fee. And what they want us to do is insert a total row. Now this is not something that you type, this is something that you turn on. So you'll notice there is a totals button. This is on the home ribbon. We're going to turn that button on. And then for payment amount, we're going to kind of click here in the cell below. And we're going to click on our arrow. And you'll notice that these are basically statistical functions. And what they would like us to do is choose sum. So basically it totals up all of the payment amounts. And they would like us to do the same thing over here for late fee. So we're going to click the arrow and choose sum. And that basically totals up the late fees. I'm going to go ahead and best fit that again so that it can display that whole number. And at this point, we're going to save.